So before we jump into the algebra, I want to recap what we were able to do here in the forest. We were able to core two trees, one relatively young Douglas fir and an old growth Douglas fir. The relatively young Douglas fir with a diameter of 20 inches, we are able to capture the entire layer of wood or the entire wood sample from the tree's pith out to the bark of the tree. And in this case, all we're going to need to do is count the layers of xylem from the pith out to the bark, add 4 at the very end to account for the time it took to the tree to raise itself or to grow to between 4 to 5 feet in height, and that will be our age. So we'll do that a little bit later. Again, when using an increment borer to determine tree age, the best scenario comes when you extract a wood sample that is intact and includes wood from the bark to the pith of the tree. The bark end of the wood sample will often flake off, as the bark is often rather spongy and flaky. No worries though, as you will have the latest year of xylem growth that is rather apparent. Your task now is to count the rings, that is, count the layers of xylem. I call them rings, as if you had an entire tree cross-section to look at, that is actually what you would see. Rings of xylem tissue. Recall from Module 1 that each year of secondary growth inside a tree results in a band of light-colored early wood and a band of dark-colored late wood. Either band can be used to represent a year of the tree's life. As you make your way down the wood sample, counting the growth rings, counting those bands, be sure to count either the dark-colored bands or the light-colored bands. Don't count both, as doing so would cause you to actually double the tree's actual age. Now, you can start at the pith end and count bands as you make your way towards the bark end, or start at the bark end and make your way towards the pith. If the bands are very thin, you may need to use a magnifying glass. And be sure to exercise patience. It is very easy to lose count, especially if someone is talking to you at the same time, or poking you in the shoulder as you try to count. Stop it! Eventually, you will arrive at the final count, the tree's age. In this case, 36 years. But wait a minute, we are actually not at the tree's final age. We forgot one final step. Recall the importance of that pith area. As we collected our wood sample at chest height, roughly 4 to 5 feet off the ground, the pith of the tree represents the top of the tree's stem when it first reached that height. It takes roughly 4 years to reach that height. Maybe 1 year less, maybe 1 year more. But for this reason, it is standard procedure to add 4 to the number of xylem layers you've counted. In our case, as we've counted 36 bands, the final age of our tree is 36 plus 4, or 40 years.